Today on Top Shelf Sports, our reporter Scott Nicol takes on a men's basketball player in a dunk contest. We'll see if he was able to get up high enough. We'll sit down with women's basketball star Courtney Woods to talk about their early season success, and we'll recap the NIU football season ahead of a possible bowl game announcement. Top Shelf Sports starts now.
Welcome to our newest edition of Top Shelf Sports. Alongside Austin Hanson, I'm Adam Carr. And Austin, how's your Thanksgiving, man?
Great. I'm still full.
A lot of turkey?
A lot of turkey, a lot of pie.
I love pie. I can't have much pie because I work retail.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. But we're back from break, man.
And the Huskies are also back on the hardwood. It was an up and down week for the men's basketball team. After blowing out Rockford University 105-53 Sunday evening, the Huskies were defeated by the Milwaukee Panthers 75-62 Wednesday. NIU had solid contributions from multiple players, including Eugene German, who recorded 22 points and 6 rebounds, and Levi Bradley added another 10 points with 6 rebounds of his own. But it was the team's defense which allowed the Panthers to shoot an incredible 57% from the field that made securing a victory improbable. The Huskies will look to bounce back in an away game against the Chicago State Cougars on Saturday. The team's 7 games in 15-day schedule will conclude with an away game Monday against the Iowa State Cyclones. After Levi Bradley's 10-point performance, our reporter Scott Nicol, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to challenge the Husky guard. Why, I'm not sure.
In a dunk contest of all things. Does he remember the posterizing dunk that Levi Bradley had earlier this season?
Apparently not.
Let's find out how possibly the most predictable dunk contest of all time played out. Good luck, Scott.
You'll need it.
The starting lineup for tonight's dunk contest, representing Top Shelf Sports, 5 foot 11 and a half inches. He calls himself a guard, Scott Nicol. From the NIU men's basketball team, senior forward, 6 foot 7 inch, Levi Bradley.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the space. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right.
Based on the crowd's reaction and my lack of ability to actually dunk, the winner of the first annual Top Shelf Sports vs. NIU men's basketball dunk contest was pretty clear. For Top Shelf Sports, I'm Scott Nicol.
It appears as though white men truly can't jump.
Yes, Scott, come on. You're embarrassing Top Shelf, man. You got to get up.
Well, let's get Scott out of here and let's move on to some actual basketball. The women's team put on a whammy against the Bradley Braves to pick up its 5th win of the season on Wednesday. The game was over before it even started as the Huskies raced out to a 16-0 lead to start the first quarter. The Huskies dominated the paint through the first 10 minutes, scoring 14 of their 18 points down low. The home team put the pressure on with a 13-point halftime lead and carried that momentum into the second half to shut the door on the Braves. Michaela Voigt paced the Huskies with a career-high 22 points.
The women's basketball team is 5-2 on the young season. We were able to catch up with junior guard Courtney Woods to talk about her team's recent success.
Let's send it over to Top Shelf Sports reporter Tom Burton, who is with Courtney Woods in this week's edition of the Husky Corner.
Thanks, guys. We're joined on site now by women's basketball junior guard Courtney Woods. Courtney, how are you?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me.
So you guys are moving on from last season, lost a couple of seniors. So do you feel like maybe you're role has to expand this year on the offensive end?
Yeah, that's definitely something they talked to me at the beginning of the year, especially me and Michaela, that we're going to have to make up for the points and the rebounds that we lost with Allie Lehman and Cassidy. So that's definitely, like, Coach makes sure, like, we all know our roles going into the year. So me and Michaela and even Kelly were definitely focused on having a bigger role this year.
So you guys have definitely obviously had a good season, but you guys have a lot of talented freshmen with Gabby. And
Yes.
what do you think about kind of their success this season and how good they're going to be?
Well, coming in as a freshman, you're definitely trying to find your feet, and having Johnny go down so early in the season, we're going to need a lot more from them this year, which is hard, like putting that pressure on them this early. So hopefully they can both step up. Erin and Gabby should see some more minutes this year and definitely get more practice under their belt.
What do you think about Janae, obviously, how tough that is for you guys? Like, kind of her strength to kind of bounce back from this and kind of get over this?
Yeah, Johnny's injury was a very scary one because no one was near her, like nothing happened, her knee just literally gave out. So that's definitely something that can happen to any of us, like at any point of time. And she's handled it all really well. She's having surgery in December and she's been at every practice, every team meal, everything like that. So she's there, like another thing we have to play for. Like we had Paulina last year and like now we have Johnny this year.
Seems like she's doing pretty well. I mean, showing up at the first game after, is she like around the team a lot?
Right,
after injury?
yeah, she's just as much as usual. Her spirits are pretty high. I think once she has surgery, like she'll definitely hit a wall and it'll get a lot tougher. But right now, like she's doing all her prehab and getting ready for surgery, so she's doing well with that.
And you alluded to, obviously, Paulina. I mean, what a great story that is, her coming back this year. Like, how does that feel kind of like around the team, like just having her back?
Paulina is definitely a very like special kid. Like even last year before she got sick, she was a very nice human being. And then when she got sick, like I've never seen someone just handle that adversity with such strength and poise. And she never really wanted anyone to feel sorry for her. It was never about that. And going into this year, like finally getting her to see her put a uniform on, like she got some good minutes last game, and I think she scored like 5 points. And so that's definitely for our team, like for our fans, like she's like our golden child. Like everyone loves Paulina. So it's good to just finally see her playing.
What was that feeling like during the Benedictine game when she made that first three on the bench?
They got that on
moment.
video as well.
Yeah.
I think me and Mig just went crazy, like just to see like everything she's waited for. She waited an entire year to get to play and hit that shot. So that was great, yeah.
Definitely. Well, we definitely appreciate having you on set, Courtney, and good luck the rest of the season for you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, that will do it from Husky Corner. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Tom. Switching gears to football, the NIU football team's regular season ended after a disappointing loss last week. They fell to Central Michigan after leading 17-0 at halftime, bringing their overall record to 8-4. After a rotating door of starters at quarterback this season, Marcus Childers led the team with 1,440 yards and 15 touchdowns. Jordan Huff led all running backs with 4 touchdowns on 740 yards rushing, and Sutton Smith was named MAC Defensive Player of the Year after leading the nation with 14 sacks, and 11 players were named to the All-MAC teams. The Huskies finished the season bowl eligible, and the bowl will be announced sometime next week. Now joining us at the desk is the Northern Star beat writer for the NIU football team, Ryan Oshry. Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, man.
So what do you think this season was like? What is the overall outlook of this season?
I think it was a relatively successful season. I mean, 8-4. They obviously had higher aspirations with the MAC championship game. I think the signature win was over Nebraska. You know, almost coming over Boston College and San Diego State, who was ranked 19th at the time. But I think that overall was a pretty successful season.
So who would you give the offensive MVP to?
Yeah, I'd say the redshirt freshman out of Georgia, Marcus Childers, 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 57.3 completion percentage. He really took the bull by the horns. And coming in at the middle of the season, it's hard for a freshman, but I think that he did a good job in leading the team to their overall record.
Now, I'm going to ask you maybe a little bit simpler of a question. Defensive Player of the Year is probably Sutton Smith.
Probably, yeah. 14 sacks. He broke Larry English's old record at NIU. Almost 30 total tackles for losses. You know, he just disrupted opposing offensive lines, and offensive coordinators had a game plan for him, and he was just a huge force. So he's possible All-American too. So I'd say Sutton Smith.
Now, Sutton Smith, he's one of many Huskies to be nominated for MAC awards, right?
Right. Yeah, 11 altogether. First team, you had guys like Shawan Lurie, Max Sharping, Shane Wyman, guys of that nature. Second team, you had Bobby Jones, who had a stellar season. Third team, you had Juwan Johnson, Jordan Steckler. So they're all well-deserved.
And we're not going to make the Orange Bowl, unfortunately, but we are bowl eligible.
Sure.
What creatively titled bowl game are we looking at possibly being in?
Right. Well, in the past, the MAC, they usually have 3 or 4 bowl games for the best teams. The famous Idaho Potato or the Dollar General, bowls like that nature. So it's not going to be the Orange Bowl this year like a few years ago, but it's still a bowl game. So.
Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And coming up after the break, we'll head to the ice to see how the Blackhawks are doing with the season in full swing.
And we'll send reporter Kobe Price out on campus to get feedback from students on all Chicago sports. Top Shelf Sports continues.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Wrestling will continue to look for a solid outing this weekend at the Hoosier Duels. 3 Huskies placed in the top 3 of their respective weight classes at the Lindenwood Open. Redshirt freshman Braden Bailey won both freshman and sophomore division championship titles for the 141-pound weight class. The Hoosier Duels competition starts at 9 a.m. this Saturday in Bloomington, Indiana. The track and field begins their indoor season today at Notre Dame's Blue and Gold Invitational. The Huskies are a young team with 16 of 38 athletes being freshmen, including cross-country runners Mackenzie Callahan, Daly Galloway, and Ashley Tutt. NIU's veterans include Lorena Martin, Cherie Miller, and Erica Hibzer. The track and field team produced its first All-American last season, Hope Schmelzel, who was the first distance runner to qualify for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship.
So, Chicago sports, Adam.
It's not looking pretty, man. I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, thankfully, we don't have to.
Hey!
Eric Martin has the breakdown on this week's unfortunate Chicago sports in the Sports Hub.
Wow, you guys are mean, but we'll see what I have to say as the Hawks look to bounce back from a loss in Nashville as they host the Dallas Stars. The Hawks entered the third period down 3-2 when Patrick Kane tips in his 10th goal of the season, coming off of a Gustav Forsling shot to even the game and send it into overtime. But it didn't take long into 3-on-3 play as the goal was scored by Matthias Janmark, flipping the game-winning goal past Corey Crawford. The Hawks fall 4-3 in their second straight disappointing loss as they look to take revenge as they go on a road trip to Dallas tomorrow for a rematch against the Stars. Puck drops at 8 p.m. After losing 6 consecutive games, the struggling Bulls travel to Mile High City to take on the Denver Nuggets. Rookie sensation Markkanen the Marksman and other big man Robin Lopez both chipped in 20 points in this game. The two of them used their size to try and work the paint as much as they could to keep the Bulls close. Markkanen also broke an NBA record, making 48 three-pointers in his first 20 career games. The Nuggets were led by Will Barton, who put on career-high 37 points, including an impressive drive and layup with 3 seconds left. But the game was not over yet. Denzel Valentine shows off his inner Steph Curry, but comes up short at the buzzer beater. Keep trying there, buddy. The Bulls will look to break their 7-game losing skid to host the Sacramento Kings tonight at 7 p.m. Bears flew to Philadelphia to face off against the Eagles on Sunday. MVP frontrunner Carson Wentz continued to have his way, leading the Eagles to a dominating win against the Monsters of the Midway 31-3. Mitchell Trubisky looked like a rookie like he is against the top-ranked Eagles defense on Sunday, throwing for just under 150 yards and threw 2 interceptions. The Bears will look to end their 4-game losing streak as they will host one of the few teams that actually have a worse record than them this Sunday, which is the 1-10 San Francisco 49ers. This is a good chance for the Bears defense to step up and carry them to a victory. Now we're going to send it over to reporter Kobe Price, who speaks to NIU students about the future of these Chicago sports.
Thanks, Eric. I'm here with Rob Young right here. We're going to talk about Chicago sports, and we're going to start with the Chicago Cubs. Rob, what do you think the Cubs need to do in order to make it back to the World Series?
They probably need to resign their closer, Wade Davis. He was a huge player that contributed to their last playoff run. Just this past year, Madden used him a ton in the later innings. He's a guy that's just a must to bring back. Plus, they need starting pitching.
What do you think about Mitchell Trubisky?
To be honest, I think it's kind of a mistake we made. I'm not seeing anything I like out of him. Last game he played was horrible. He can't even run the ball without tripping. Things like that are just kind of ticking me off.
What do you think about the whole Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic situation?
At this point, Mirotic can go. I know it wasn't his fault, but I think we should keep Bobby Portis instead of Mirotic.
What makes you think that?
He's younger. He seems like he has more potential. He's a little explosive, but I feel like the Bulls they get so scared when they get a player with attitude, and they just ship them off. Eddie Curry, Jamal Crawford, just ship them all off. So.
About Rose, he's stepping away from the league. I'm not sure if you've seen that. He's taking some time away from the league to, I guess, work on his mental health. But I just really hope he don't retire or give up, because that's my favorite player all the time. Because that's a player I actually grew up watching. My brother grew up watching Kobe. I grew up watching Rose. I've seen him from start to finish. So I just really hope he don't give up. But, yeah, I've been a fan for a while now. A lot of people not Bulls fans no more ever since Rose got injured, but I'm still a Bulls fan. So.
Well, that's it for Top Shelf Sports connected with NIU students. My name is Corey Price, and let's send it back to you at the desk, Eric.
Thanks, Kobe. Those are some interesting responses. Maybe some of Chicago's sports GMs can take some advice from these kids, because whatever they're doing does not seem to be right. That's all for the Sports Hub. Now back to Adam and Austin at the desk.
When Top Shelf Sports returns, we'll find out which student athlete is taking on a bigger role in this week's Leader of the Pack.
And we'll make one last pit stop in the garage to recap the NASCAR season and find out who came out on top as champion.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana.
Heard about the scarecrow who won an award? He was outstanding in his field.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts. Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
In most cases, leadership comes from the veteran seniors who have been a part of their sports programs for 4 years. But an underclassman is making the leap for the men's basketball team this season.
NTC Sports reporter Mateo Avila has more in this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU sophomore guard Eugene German is taking on a leadership role with the men's basketball team this season despite still being an underclassman. Coming off a successful first year of college basketball, Eugene is looking to pass down what he learned to this year's sixth freshmen.
My definition of leadership for this team, just guiding the freshmen in the right direction. Just telling them like everything that we have to do, because I've been through it last year. So just leading them and just being the voice of the team, just being a very vocal guy.
Eugene is still developing his skills as a college basketball player, including his abilities as a point guard looking to run the team's offense. While it's still a work in progress, head coach Mark Montgomery is confident that Eugene's up for the task.
Gino always brings great energy. He brings a work ethic. He tries to communicate how he works to the other guys. He has to spearhead our defense. When you're the point guard, big quality you got to bring is, hey, I'm going to be tough on the defensive end, and he has to get our guys in position on the offensive end.
With a wide skill set on offense filled with explosive crossovers, mid-range floaters, and tough finishes at the basket, Eugene's scoring ability is unquestioned, but he's able to set personal goals aside for his team-first mentality that he views as more important, with hopes of making it to the big dance in March.
I try to keep that to myself, the personal goals, and yeah, I'm just focusing on trying to get a MAC championship right now.
Eugene's eagerness to jump into a new role so early in his collegiate career, as well as his team-first mentality, leave him as this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC Sports, I'm Mateo Avila.
German is leading the team with 18 points a game and is third in rebounding for the Huskies.
Hey Austin, remember when Michael Bisping lost his title to the GSP a few weeks ago?
Yeah, of course, sure.
Glad you pay attention to my award-winning segments. Well, he took no time to get back into the cage to try to regain his belt.
Hey, I pay attention. You're usually over there.
Yeah, you're looking at something. Thank you. Bisping faced off against welterweight and middleweight contender Kelvin Gastelum, and it wasn't pretty for the count. The fight didn't take too long to get wild, as both men stood right in front of each other and decided the technique just really wasn't important, and decided to swing at each other's jaws the entire time. It was really one of those fights that depended on who would connect first, and as you see here, was Gastelum. Bisping crumbled to the ground, and immediately Gastelum wasted no time finishing him on top with punches. This was Kelvin's second victory over a former champion, and the Count's second straight loss. This brings us to two more events. This season's Ultimate Fighter has a live finale on Friday, but all eyes are on the featherweight title Saturday. It's a rematch as the champion, Max Holloway, squares off once again against the legendary Jose Aldo. Their previous fight in June of this year ended with Holloway stopping Aldo to take what was Aldo's belt. Holloway has been on an absolute tear since 2013 decision loss to Conor McGregor, finishing 3 of his last 5 fights. Now, Aldo is by far the most feared featherweight this side of Kid Yamamoto, but he's looked pretty mortal since that second Chad Mendes fight and has been stopped in 2 of his last 3. Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje and Alistair Overeem versus Francis Ngannou round out the featured fights of the night.
After a 36-race season, the champion has been crowned in NASCAR.
For more on the story, we're going to send it to the garage. Tell us something, Brandon.
Thanks, guys. Martin Truex Jr. was the class of the field all season long, and now he's a NASCAR champion. So let's take a look at how he and the little team that could battle adversity all year to win their first championship. Furniture Row Racing is the only team not headquartered in North Carolina. Instead, they are in Colorado. They embrace their underdog status and pride themselves as a team that can overcome adversity. In 2014, Furniture Row Racing signed Martin Truex Jr. He was a non-factor, having only 5 top 10s, leading 1 lap all season, and finishing 26 overall. In that season, Truex's longtime girlfriend, Sherry Pollux, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Truex, now rookie crew chief Cole Pern, used his troubles outside of the car to push him on the track. He finished 4th in standings in 2015. Fast forward to this season, Furniture Row Racing now no stranger to success, but still yet to win a championship after coming so close the past 2 seasons. Truex and Pern seemed to understand the new stage racing like no one else, racking up stage points all season to basically guarantee them his spot in the Final Four in Miami. Truex had 8 wins on the year, 2,253 laps led, and more stage wins than any other driver with 19. That isn't to say the team did not have any issues this season. Truex's girlfriend was re-diagnosed with cancer. Team fabricator Jim Watson had a heart attack and died at Kansas Motor Speedway. And even Furniture World Racing team owner Barney Visser had a heart attack and could not be with the team at the finals in Miami. All this led to Homestead Miami, a track where Truex historically is the worst of the other 3 drivers in the championship 4. Truex did not seem to have a car that could win all day. He was the worst of the 4 for a lot of the race, but still was in the picture. It was pit strategy that gave Truex the lead with 34 to go. Truex had a good restart and was out front, but all day Kyle Busch had the best car on the long runs. Busch had reeled Truex in and caught him with 20 laps to go. Truex held on and ran different lines to take away the air from Busch. It didn't seem like he was going to be able to do it, but Truex was able to do the seemingly impossible and hold on to win. That was his first win at Homestead Miami and his first ever championship. And that's it for the 2017 season. It was a great season with excellent racing. The little team that could from Colorado is now the best team in NASCAR. They're the team to beat, so next year everyone's going to be gunning for them. Also, I want to thank everyone for watching The Garage all season. It's been a pleasure to commentate on the season. It was a fantastic season to be able to commentate on. I only hope to have shared my love of motorsports with someone out there, and all I ever wanted to do was be a commentator for NASCAR. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to do that. And one last time from The Garage, I'm Brandon Morago, and let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Brandon. He will be back next week, not with The Garage, but with The Lodge.
We love Brandon. Austin, how's your fantasy team doing?
Don't really want to talk about that, Adam.
Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of help if I want to get my money back.
Thankfully, we got No Huddle Defense host David Sivia breaking down the best fantasy picks of the week and his top 5 plays. Damn,
Thanks, guys.
I was slow too.
Sorry, I know I got the tips for you guys, but I don't even think I'm going to be able to help you. But I could help everyone else out there. Here are 3 players that I think will be surefire ways to get you guys in the playoffs with the fantasy football playoff coming right around the corner. The quarterback to look for is Case Keenum of the Minnesota Vikings. Keenum and the Vikings look to keep up the momentum rolling this week in Atlanta. Keenum has 9 TDs and 3 picks over his last 4 games, and with a solid run game backing him up and some real solid wideouts to catch in those balls, Case Keenum's confidence is at an all-time high, so I think Case Keenum's going to have a big week. The running back looking to shred it this week is Leonard Fournette of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fournette is coming off his lowest game of the season in production with only 25 yards on 12 rushing attempts last week. Fournette is looking to have a bounce-back week against the Colts, who have allowed the 6th most points to fantasy running backs this season. And now, the wide receiver that has been putting in work lately is Keenan Allen of the Los Angeles Chargers. Over the last 2 weeks, Allen has posted 23 receptions for 331 yards. And with the 0-11 Cleveland Browns coming into town, look for Allen's crazy numbers to stay for at least 1 more week before cooling off. So now, it is time once again for everybody to come aboard the top play train, and man, we got some doozies for you. Starting off at number 5, Denver Nuggets guard Will Barton taking the game into his own hands with 8 seconds left. A drive to the hoop, hits the dagger. Barton's acrobatic layup reverse claims heroic honors and seals the win for Denver. At number 4, we head overseas to Everton. A deep clear may have not been the best choice for West Ham United goalkeeper Joe Hart. He clears it, puts it at midfield, but that's a bad choice. He puts it right in Wayne Rooney's wheelhouse, who decides to send it from midfield with no one in front of him, making it look easy. Rooney gets the impressive midfield goal. At number 3, we have some Turkey Day football as Marvin Jones of the Detroit Lions is in double coverage, but that doesn't matter. He brings down the rock for a tutty. Jones made Vikings corner Xavier Rhodes and Terrence Newman look like a bunch of jabronis. I could smell what Jones is cooking. At number 2, we head to the King's Court as LeBron James isn't playing around. Someone should really tell LeBron this isn't volleyball following this filthy one-handed spike. Hasn't this kid ever heard not to mess with LeBron James? I guess not. LeBron is not going. And for our final play, is that Matt Ryan behind center? No. Is that Mohamed Sanu? Of course. A full-on air raid from wideout to wideout. Former college QB Sanu connects with Julio Jones to reel in the bomb. The pass completion keeps Sanu with a perfect passer rating for his career, and he ends up with the top play of the week. Top Shelf Sports. Oh, thanks, guys, and we're going to go back to the desk.
Now, I don't know about you, but the Bears might want to take a look at Sanu at quarterback.
I mean, he can't hurt.
Yeah, really. Top Shelf Sports is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
For more on Top Shelf Sports, look us up and like us on Facebook. Be on the lookout for our various podcasts on SoundCloud, and you can also check out our Twitter site at @TopShelf_NIU to keep up with the latest sports content.
We want to thank you all for joining us, and as always,
Go Huskies!